Producer Suzanne Belk. Next up is Supervising Director Jacob Hare. And Lead Character Designer Elisa Phillips. Thanks so much for joining us. Today we're going to celebrate 10 years of Rick and Morty and get a peek at the upcoming Season 7. Alright, starting with Steve and going down the line, I'd love it if each of you could share a bit about what you do on the show and how long you've been on the Rick and Morty team.
So, I was wondering if you guys think Retcon is an evil character or a good person. So,
Who?
Retcon?
Oh, Retcon. Always has been.
Always has been Retcon.
Yeah. I think he's pretty evil. He's in jail for a reason, and Rick is terrified of him in certain respects. So I think he's a bad dude.
What's saying absolute power corrupts, and he's too powerful. So of course.
It's kind of a philosophical question, actually. I mean, he doesn't really work for anyone. He's kind of just for himself, and can you really say that's evil?
Well, that's true of the Joker in The Dark Knight, do you think?
Complicated question. We're going to think on even more later.
As animators of the show, have you ever snuck in cameos of yourselves or the cast in the background in any way? Can you reveal any of that?
I've done it on other shows. I've worked in backgrounds from my hometown into stuff. You can put stuff into the storyboard and sometimes it makes it through, but there's so many people along the chain, and unless you directly ask for it. I actually did, when I was boarding the Vat of Acid episode, I made a sort of teenage version of my then girlfriend, now wife, Carrie, was Morty's girlfriend. And my parents were her parents in that episode. But in that instance, I just found incidental characters that already existed that looked like my parents, and we used them, because sometimes it's hard to just say, out of my own self-indulgence, you guys, please draw characters after you're already so good.
Actually, Lisa, if you could please draw me in this upcoming season, I'd appreciate that. I'm sure put that out there.
So you put people in the show before?
I would just like to disclaim that if anybody has any resemblance to anyone real, like dead or alive, it's purely coincidence.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense. But we should call out that Jacob, in this Vat of Acid script, it kind of just said, like, artists go nuts. There's a montage thing that happens here, and Jake took it upon himself to essentially write that entire quiet sequence where there's no dialogue, where Morty goes on that journey of a relationship where you see him fall in love and then they get on the plane and they crash. And that whole thing was all Jacob's brainchild, so Emmy well deserved.
Thank you. The episode was going to be 2 minutes short. We knew it, and they said go nuts. And I had a sidebar with Al from the writer, and I was like, maybe we could pad out a joke where Morty stops using the device and then gets reset. And he was like, yeah, we had a similar idea in the writer's room. Go for it. But it was a huge gamble just to draw that in a vacuum because there was no guarantee that my boss would approve it. He did. There was no guarantee the writers would go for it. They did. Nick Brzezinski, our sound editor at the time, and editor, put that awesome Eric Clapton song in there that ended up working out great as a joke. So yeah, that's a perfect example of why the show is so special, that type of creative environment. So.
At a previous convention, they had mentioned that Jerry's bee habit or beekeeping was a reference.
If you like cartoons, movies, books, music, I demand you subscribe to this channel. Subscribe, be prepared. Subscribe or be prepared for doom. Do not resist. Do not resist. Subscribe. Subscribe. Subscribe.